I'm Beth Singer, Lena Smith's mom, and I love to teach kids about design thinking. And today we're going to do some design thinking to make something called an Alpana. Alpana is an ancient Hindu art form of painting on the floor. It originated in India and it's been passed on for generations. Sometimes they're called rangoli, sometimes they're called kolam. It just depends on what part of India you're from. We're also going to be using a dot pattern and a grid to help us, just like many of the women who make Alpana in India. Our Alpana will be non-representational, and by that I mean we won't be drawing pictures of anything specific. Our Alpana will be made from abstract designs. So, let's get started. Step 1. Using the dot pattern. You'll be given a dot pattern just like this one. The first thing you want to do is you want to decide whether you want to draw straight lines that connect the dots, or you want to draw curvy lines that will go around the dots, or you can do a combination. The next step is making your Alpana design. So you want to use a pencil with an eraser on it, because we all make mistakes. And you want to make one mark at a time. So for this one, I'm going to use a circle design. So I'm going to go from one of the middle circles, a curved line, to another circle. I'm going to make the exact symmetrical mark on the other side of the paper. Then I'm going to continue and make a circle and connect another dot, and then I'm going to make the exact symmetrical mark on the other side of the paper. So every time you make a line, you want to make a symmetrical mark on the other side of the paper. Don't continue until you have made a symmetrical line on each side of the paper, or you can get mixed up very fast. And remember, if you make a mistake, you can always erase it. So in my design, I'm going to now make a straight line from the center of my circle out into a diagonal line, and then I'm going to make a symmetrical line on the other side, and one on the right side, and a symmetrical line on the other side. You don't have to begin at the center. You can begin at any dot on the page. I'll show you another way to start by using the corners for the first lines. In this design, I'm going to make my lines around the dots, not connecting the dots. So I'm going to start in the corners and use two dots in the very corners, and I'm going to make a leaf shape. And then I'm going to do the exact same shape symmetrically on the other side of the page. And then one on the bottom of the page to complete my symmetry, and finally on the bottom left. Now I have 4 symmetrical marks on the page. Here is a design that uses lines that were drawn all around the dots. The only place that we used lines that connect the dots are right here and here. Everywhere else we used lines around the dots. And here is the finished Alpana. This design uses a combination of straight and curvy lines. The straight lines connect the dots directly, and the curvy lines are drawn around the dots. And this is the finished Alpana from this design. This design is a rather complicated one and uses curvy looping lines that loop around all of the dots. And this is the finished Alpana from that design. This design was made by the wonderful Lena Smith, and she used a technique of connecting all the dots from dot to dot. And this design was done by the fabulous Sawyer London, and you can see he connected the dots with both curved and straight lines, and it looks like it emanated from the center. And here is Sawyer's finished Alpana. Now I have my finished Alpana design, and the next step, step 2, is painting the lines. So for that you'll need a clear piece of plastic. It's called acetate, and it has been cut to the proper size, just slightly bigger than your paper, and place it down over top of your design. The next thing you'll do is go get a little bit of white paint from an adult in your room and a bowl of water. Two of you can share a bowl of water if you want. Not everyone needs their own water. And a paper towel. So the white paint is a little bit thick. You might want to thin it out just with a little bit of water. And you start tracing your lines. You don't fill in any shapes. You just literally, we're outlining now. So I would trace my lines that I've made, my pencil lines. And the trick is to make the lines very smooth, not too shaky, and try to get the lines about the same width all the way through. So nice and smooth, not too shaky, and about the same width all the way through. Now to show you what I'm doing, because it might be hard to see the white on white in the video, I'm going to slide a piece of colored paper underneath so you can see what I'm doing. I'm literally tracing all of my lines in white paint. And you'll do this until you are finished tracing all of your lines. Okay, step 3, adding color to your Alpana. First, choose a color of paper for the background of your Alpana. We have lots of different colors of paper for you to choose from. You won't need your pencil sketch anymore. And what you want to do is slip it underneath your acetate. Different colors will give you different feelings. For example, this orange looks quite different than this gray. Looks quite different from this dark blue. That's quite dramatic. And I'll show you one more, a red. So the first thing you do is choose the color of paper that you want. I think I will choose the orange. And I'm going to write my name on it, Miss Beth. And I'm going to slip it underneath my acetate. Decide what colors will go nicely with your background paper. Anywhere from 1 to 3 colors will make a great design. And ask an adult to squeeze the color paints you choose onto your paper plate. You only need about this much paint for each color. You may want to mix your own colors if you do not see the exact color that you want. Choose which shapes will be colored in your design. It's best not to color in every single shape because the color of the paper won't show through then. So leave some of them empty. Make sure you have your water bowl and your brush, because you want to clean the brush every time you use a different color, and also your paper towel to dry the brush. Take the paint and paint very carefully inside the lines. And remember, we're making a symmetrical design. So any color that you paint, you have to find the shape that would be considered the symmetrical shape and paint it the same color. I'm going to wash my brush since I'm done with my red for right now. And then I'm going to wipe my brush on my paper towel. Some of the paints are a little more transparent than other paints, so you can go back for a second coat once it dries a little bit. It doesn't take very long to dry, about 10 minutes or so. Here we have my finished painting now. Lena helped me color in the lines. And step 4 is the finishing touches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and take my white paint like this, and I'm just going to make my white lines a little crisper. It helps the whole composition look very professional. Try to get all the lines about the same thickness. And then one more thing you can do is you can add some finishing touches outside of the design itself. So I'm thinking I would like to add some other elements. Again, everything is symmetrical, so I'm going to add a dot here and a white dot here, and then of course I have to do it symmetrically, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do another white dot and another white dot. One thing that I ask is that you always keep the brush in the water when you're not using it. I've loaned you 80 of my personal brushes, and I'd like to make sure that we keep them clean and from drying out. The very last step is to take a small, very small piece of Scotch tape and tape each of the corners, tape your acetate to the paper. Just a very small piece. Maybe about 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch on each corner, just to keep it together. And that's how you make an Alpana. Good luck. I can't wait to see yours.